We use energy all the time, for transport, for industry and at home. But we now know that some forms of energy produce dangerous emissions. We know that other forms of energy are not renewable. So what can we do about it? Well, perhaps we should start again. Perhaps we should build towns or houses which only use renewable sources of energy, which don't create dangerous emissions. But would they work?
This is a centre for alternative technology in Wales. The people who work here say that conventional ways of making electricity are dirty or unsafe. They say that there are other forms of energy which are safer and more effective, and they use renewable sources of energy.
Over 20 people live and work here at the centre. They don't make electricity from gas, coal or nuclear power. They make electricity from the sun, the wind and water.
The sea is very powerful. This machine here shows how it is possible to make electricity from the waves. If I push this handle here, it creates a wave.
The wave pushes air upwards and drives a turbine, and the turbine creates electricity.
But the sea is a long way from here. So how do they create electricity from water without the waves?
At the top of the mountain there is a lake. The water from the lake drives a turbine down here, and this produces a lot of electricity. This is called hydroelectric power. Hydroelectric power produces 20% of the world's electricity and is the main source of electricity in over 30 countries. Some people believe that we can't have solar power in Britain because we don't get enough sunshine. But in fact this isn't true. You can produce power from the sun even when it's cloudy. This is one of the largest solar panels in Europe, and it can produce 13 kilowatts of electricity per hour. That's enough to run over 100 light bulbs per hour. Solar power doesn't make any noise, doesn't need any fuel, and doesn't create any pollution. This train doesn't use electricity at all. It uses gravity. Water flows into the train at the top of the hill. This makes the train heavier, and gravity pulls it down the hill. At the same time, it pulls the other train up the hill. But are there any disadvantages in using alternative sources of energy? I spoke to Paul, who works here at the centre.
Well, whenever we generate energy, we have some form of impact. Some people might think that the visual impact of wind turbines is a problem, whereas others would say that's the price you pay for your energy, but at least it's upfront and it's safe.
There are many sources of energy, and some of them don't damage the environment. But what can we do to save energy?
Switch lights off when you're not using them. When you're not watching the television, switch it off when you go out the room. Also, water's important. Don't waste water, switch the taps off when you're not using them. Also with our food, whenever we we buy food, we're affecting the environment where it's produced. So buying locally grown organic food is not only better for you, it's better for the environment. If we don't begin to look at other ways of generating our electricity and other energy without burning fossil fuels, we will begin to have a more turbulent climate, which will have damaging effects on crops and communities in many parts of the world.